Um,
Okay.
I live here in Wichita, Kansas, and my journey has been a long one. I started at probably like 13. My mom was kind of like a spiritualist, she was open and she was really cool. And she would have me and my cousin do use the cards and um, hold up a card and what card am I holding, that kind of stuff. So I kind of got introduced really young. I was about 13 then. When I was 17, I had some things happen to me that was really weird. I didn't know what was going on. And here in Wichita, this was in the 70s. I'm 65. And I was 17 and I didn't know what was going on. I thought that, it was weird. And my mom had a real good friend here in Wichita. Her name is Darla McComb. She was a well known psychic. She was world known and she wrote books and taught at the university. And I went to go see her, and she told me my inner ear was opening, and that I need to pay attention and listen. Then I had a lot of strange things happen to me at 17, and so that kind of set me on this journey, of wonderment. And just so happened about that time there was a school here called the School of Metaphysics. And so I was intrigued and I got involved with that, and I got to learn about astral projection, all these different modalities I got to learn about. And one particular, I worked second shift and I didn't get home until like midnight. And this one night I got home and I slept in the kitchen on a day bed, and I went to lay down to go to sleep, and all of a sudden, I was like, I set up, and I was in this. It was like a dream, but it wasn't a dream. Um, I was. I seen a scene. You know what I mean? It was like a scene, and I'm watching this experience, and I see three spaceships. Okay. I go out on my porch and I see three spaceships, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to tell somebody, who can I tell? And I freaked out and I shut the door. And then there was a knock at my door. And when I opened it, there was a man there, an old man, all white, like glowing white, like a white that I've never seen before. And he held this picture. Now, I don't know what none of this means. I've been in search for, all these years to try to figure out what all this meant, but I really don't know what it meant. But he had this picture, and it was a picture of me and my mom. And the next thing I know, I was on this ship, and I was looking around and I was like just trying to take it all in. And then we went to this place. It was like the way that, you know, uh, in Greece and the Romans, how the buildings were. There was a place like that, and you can look it up online if you look Gilbert William visitation. That's the place, and I'll tell you how that correlates in a minute with that. And so we were, there were seven of us. There were seven people. I remember a tall man, and I remember an older lady that was sitting next to the man, and then there was some people on my other side, and there was a man there, and there were people there that were just absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. I mean, and exude all of this love and glowingness about them, you know what I mean? And it was just a beautiful, pristine, serene place. And I'm looking around, and then there is a gentleman there at a podium, and he starts talking, and teaching or whatever. And then the next thing I know, I'm back in my room, and I'm like, what was that all about? Did I dream that? What's going on? So the next day, I take my mom to work in the morning, and there was a shop here in town, and it was called the Menagerie, and it's a head shop back in the 70s. I didn't partake in that back then. And my car was like, you need to go. And I'm like, I need to turn. And the car's like, no, you need to go. So I said, okay, where are you going to take me, Spirit? Where are you going to take me? So I wound up going to this store. I pulled into the menagerie, didn't have a dollar to my name, didn't know what I was doing there. I thought, okay, let's just take this all the way. And so I got out and I went in, and I'm looking around because I don't know why I'm there. And I see this card rack at the end of this counter, and I go to the card rack and I turn the card rack around, and there was a picture that Gilbert Williams painted that had three spaceships and that place that I was at. And I don't know what that meant. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've always wondered what that was and what that meant to me. And I've always believed in that I'm from the Palladian, thing. I have always been connected to knowing that I don't belong here. When I was 10 years old, I can remember sitting in a bush, and in our backyard there was a row of bushes, and I can remember setting myself in the middle of the bushes and sitting there Indian style and looking out at the yard at my dad and my brother and sisters playing and thinking, I don't belong here. I want to go home. This ain't my home. I want to go home. And I was 10. So my life has always had questions about me being here, and then never really been comfortable in crowds or comfortable within myself or my own skin, and so it's really led me on this really heavy journey. And I've really done a lot of studying with a lot of different things, and went down different paths and stuff, a lot. So there's that experience I had. And I don't know what that meant, but I know that when I went to that shop that I'd never been before, and there was a card there that said visitation, I knew right then and there that what I had experienced was real. That because I had no business being there, never heard of that store before, never been to that store before, have no reason to go there, that there was a connection there. And I sent a letter back then, when I was like 18. I tried to send a letter to Gilbert Williams because I was so engrossed on how did he get that idea for that painting? Did he experience that, or where did that come from? Did spirit give that to him, or what? But he never did get back to me. So it's always been a wonderment. You've always wondered, about that experience. you know, it was pretty wild back then when I was 17. And I do have another story that I have that I've always lived with people. I'm a care person. I take care of people. I've done it since I was 11. That's all I know how to do, really. So I take care of family, and whoever needs me, I'm there. I don't really look after myself. I've never really lived alone per se. And this was in the it had to be the early 2000s. I got an apartment for the first time ever and by myself. And I was excited about that. And I was reading a couple of books, and I was doing a lot of uh, taking baths in vinegar and sea salt and submerging myself. And I did that on a routine on a 21-day meditation thing. And so I did that every night and opened, myself up. And so I was kind of scared, being, by myself and first experience ever. And I went to bed one night, and you know how you get in that you're not sound asleep, but you're not awake. You're in that in between comfortable, spot. And um, I felt pressure on the foot of my bed, and I freaked out, and I kind of scurried up in the bed, where my back was on the wall, because I thought someone had broken into my apartment. I was fixing to get raped. That was the first thought in my mind, and so I was panicked, and then a calmness came over, and I opened my eyes, and there was uh, an entity that was uh, he was a Palladian. He had aqua purple blue eyes like I've never seen before, and he had white hair, and he didn't talk to me with his mouth. And I got a sense of after a few minutes, that I knew him. I was comfortable with him. It was like we were old friends because we were laughing and joking and playing, around. And he was like a friend, like a best friend. And I laughed a lot, and then there was a big knock at my door, and I went to the door. And when I opened the door, there were a lady and a man there, and I knew why they were there. They were, like the Men in Black is real. And I, you know, just the minute that I opened the door, then they turn around and they were like gone in a flash. And I went back to my room, and of course he was gone. And so I had an answering machine on at my house. And so the next morning, I couldn't sleep. I sat there on the edge of my bed and just replayed everything that happened. And the next day I went to work and I told my boss all about it. And, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Well, when I got home, I had a message on my answering machine. And the message was in this, um, it was not in English. It was in, I can't describe what it said. I don't know what it said, but I do know that it was left, by him and on my machine. And I kept that for the longest time. I had to call my daughter over because I knew what that was in my being. I knew. And I just wanted everyone around me to hear that so I wasn't losing my mind, and it was a pretty awesome experience. It made me feel like I was a part of that, part of the Palladian group. And because excuse me, because I felt like I knew him, that I was a part of that, So that's that story. I've got a lot of different things that's happened to me. I did, left my body once. I've done a lot of different things on my journey. And when 2005, I lost my daughter, who was 26, and my mother within a day of each other. My daughter went first, and my mom went the next day. And she had two boys. They were 9 and 6. And I was, she was my everything. We did everything together every single day of my life. I was there with her and the kids. And it was, that was my life. That was my world. And my youngest grandson, her youngest son, we used to go walk the track. There's a track here at one of the schools, and Nicole would go walk the track, and the boys would go with her and they'd walk the track, in the evening time. And so Elijah wanted to go walk the track. Well, I didn't, I didn't want no part of that. But I knew that I had to be strong for him. And so I said, okay. And so we went. He's got an older brother, Isaiah, who's 9. And we went, and I didn't walk. I stayed on the bleachers. And as they took off walking that way, I was watching them walk, and I noticed a butterfly. And the butterfly was flying around their head. It would fly around Isaiah's head, and then it would come around like an 8, and would go around Elijah's head, and then back around, Isaiah's head. And then it followed them. It was like it was, playing with them. And as I watched them walk, and they got straight across from me, and there's a field in between, and they decided that they were going to come back. And as they came back, I watched that butterfly fly into the ground, And when it came up, it was a bird, a little tiny bird. That bird played tag with them boys. They chased the bird. The bird would fly around and fly around each one of them. So they'd chase it. And then, they were, both sit down on the ground. And that bird, I watched with my own eyes fly back into the ground. And when it came up, it was a butterfly again. And that let me know, that she was there. And I tell that story to the boys so they can remember that, that was a special time that they spent with their mom, and that she was always going to be there, with them, with that story. And, I had a really hard time because when I was super spiritual, I meditate every day in my crystals, and every night, every single night, I'd be in my room with the crystal circle and light the candles, and, call the archangels into my circle. And I felt so connected to spirit. I just felt like I was at home, at peace, and so connected. And when I lost Nicole, and I didn't get a miracle, or people hit trees and walk away from it, and this was an unexplained accident. It couldn't be explained. Detectives walked the accident site. There was nobody in the intersection. It was just her. And it looked like somebody just picked her car up and threw it into the post. And I couldn't breathe. And then I was done. I was done with spirit. Didn't pick my cards up no more. I used to read tarot, didn't pick them up. I've had my deck for 30, probably 35 years. I quit everything. And I decided that I didn't want no part of that no more. I didn't believe in it no more. I didn't put my crystals away. I put all that stuff away. And I thought, okay, well, I didn't know what to do. And I was so angry. And I went to a pagan shop, and I thought, okay, I'm going to just go down this road for a while. And I mean, I had a lot of people a lot of my close, especially my best friend of 50 some years, she was against me going down that road. And, I was going to burn in hell and all that stuff. But what I learned during that year and a day, I made some really good friends, and really good friends. And that's not my path, but it helped me open my heart up again, and so I've been trying my best to get back, and that's why I love going to Patsy's all the time, because, be around Chris and around her. And, she did past life regressions, and that was always a fun thing to do, to have that done. And, she did one for me, and it really helped me understand me in my life today, and relationships with men, with that past life regression. That really helped me understand the dynamic that I have with relationships today. So, I've done a lot of stuff and studied a lot of stuff. And right now, I think this is a really interesting group. Chris has told me about you guys told me about you for a while, and you push stuff away. I don't, I tell myself I'm tired. I don't, it, whatever, but I miss being able to be around like-minded people and learn, because we're always learning something from someone. And I've missed that.
Lindy, Susan had a question for you.
Okay.
There you go.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself there. Out of curiosity, what or why do you think they're drawn to you? They come and visit you.
I think that I really do believe that I'm RH negative. I have RH negative blood, and I've done a lot of research on that. And I just think that I'm connected to the Palladians. Um, I'm connected to something outside of here. You know what I mean? And I've always looked to the sky and always have felt that I don't, that's where I need to be, but I've not really, I've studied the Pleiadians, and um, I don't know. I wish someone could tell me. Can you tell me? I'm searching for answers for, so many questions that the experiences that I've had, I know are real to, you know what I mean? I experienced those. I have um proof, just proof like the videotape and the postcard, and I have those things, that I know. When your spirit inside tells you, you believe that. And I knew that I experienced that was real to me. And if no one believed me and they think that I'm crazy, I'm sorry, but I will always believe that. I'm not afraid of any of that.
You know
I
that as a
love
kind of
it.
a group, we're very open and we're not,
Yeah.
we don't judge other people's experiences.
Yeah. No. No, because I think everyone has experiences, and I think that their experiences are true to them. It's something that is going on with them. And at that time, for me, when I was 17, I mean, I was just really the, if I got involved with a negative man, who was very abusive, who shut that down really early on, but if I wouldn't have went down that path, I don't know where I would have been, where I would have went with that, all those abilities that were starting to open up within me, and Darla, she was a teacher, and I was a student of hers, and she did automatic writing. And I used to, the first time I can remember, the first time that I went to go see her, I was young, and my mom and her were friends, and I went to her. And so you had to go into this little office, and she wasn't there, and she come in and she wanted you to write down 3 questions. And I can remember doing this because I'm looking to see if there's cameras, because I don't know, but I know that when she came in and she started doing her automatic writing, she told me things that there was no way that no one knew, no one. And after that, I fell in love with her, and we became really good friends as well. And I've always been interested in automatic writing as well, but things in my life are hectic all the time, and I just don't have time to do all that right now.
I think a lot of us can relate to that. Is Darla still a friend? Is she still with us? Is Lindy, is Darla still a friend?
No,
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 she's
she's
gone.
passed. Yeah,
Okay.
she was a neat lady, and she was as real can be. And she taught me a lot of stuff about energy, just a lot of neat stuff. And I went to her one time because when I was having classes with her, and I kept having this dream that my son was like 10, and I kept seeing him in a casket. And I got really scared because I'm like, okay, am I seeing this? Is this going to happen? What, so I went and talked to her, and she said, stop. She said, every single time that you have that vision in your mind, she said, reverse that with something fun and something happy, and that what, riding his bike and falling off or whatever it might be, but not to have that thought, just wipe that completely out. And so I did that, for 2 or 3 days later, and then it just kind of went away. So she was just really an awesome lady. I just loved her. I miss her.
Peg, you had something?
Yeah, I have a question. When your mom and your daughter transitioned so closely and you withdrew,
Mhm. Yeah.
what was there something that brought you back to an interest in this?
Um, I think that it was just me trying to be, because I grew up studied a lot of different religions, and paganism, when I grew up was kind of frowned on, you know what I mean? And I think I was just so angry with spirit, with God, with whatever, that I thought I'm going to go down that road. But I learned a lot of things about myself down that road. And so when I was done with my year and a day class, I still maintained friends, but I didn't go back to that. I don't believe in I don't want to pray to a goddess or a god. I mean, I don't, in my mind, I don't see that. I see spirit. And then I started with the metaphysic group, wanting to get back and get open, get myself, because I knew that I needed to get open. And that was the only way that I was going to be able to do that, was to be around people like-minded that understood where I was at and have experienced, the metaphysical things. And so that's why I got open again. And I'm okay. I'm not angry anymore, about with spirit, about all that. I understand that it was her time, and it was just her time. And I know my mom went with her because she was old and she was ready to go. And, I think that she was a caregiver and wanted to go with Nicole and to make sure she was okay. And so she went, because she just went in her room and laid down, and that was it. She was nothing wrong with her. She was fine. She was up Saturday dancing around, and being herself and stuff. And then when she realized that I was going to have to turn the machine off Nicole, then she went to her room and lay down, and that was it. She didn't wake up.
What a terrible shock.
Yeah. And then we lost my sister 3 months later in May. So yeah, August 1st. So it was May 18th and 19th, and then August 1st, we lost my little sister. So
You
it was
came
fun.
into a lot of challenges to deal with.
Yeah.
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 I think, I don't know. How about the rest of you? I get kind of sick of those lessons.
Yeah. I do too.
Isn't it time that we graduated? I guess if we finished the class, then we would.
I don't want to come back again.
No, I don't think. Is there anybody here who wants to come back here again?
No, no,
I don't think so. Well,
Really,
no.
something I think is really amazing. Lindy has taken care of her daughter's two sons, her daughter's two sons, and she's taken care of her brother. It's like she is always taking care of other people. And it's like I almost feel like
uh-oh.
not enough for you. That it maybe it's time to take care of you. I this is a wonderful platform for opening your heart and your mind and not being judged for it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I got to do something for me, because it's, I mean, it is, um, um, I have, my two grandsons, they're grown and they've got kids, and I've got one that is struggling, and he's Isaiah, and Chris knows a little bit about Isaiah and his struggles, and he's just really out there. He's homeless now, and he won't take care of business. He just got diagnosed with HIV. He doesn't know whether he's a guy or a girl. Um, and we fight, and I've got some medical things fixing to happen to me. And so I can't afford to worry too much about him. I've got to fight for me. And so I don't know what to do. I can't turn my back on him. And so I'm the only one there that will help him, so I allow him to come over, take a shower, get some rest, or get some food. I've really done a 360 in my ability to say no. I'm not gonna come and get you at 10 o'clock at night. I'm in bed. I'm not going to do that. You have to figure it out. You're 28. You're going to figure it out. So I've really done a 360 on that, because before, a couple of years ago, I would have been out at 10 o'clock at night chasing him or picking him up, taking him there, taking him wherever. And he's on drugs, and just he has this ability to get an apartment, but he don't take his medication like he's supposed to, and he's bipolar, and he's a mess. And so he's it's just been really hard. I have a hard time, because my instinct to take care of him, and a promise I made, it's really hard, that I've made a promise to her, and that I take care of him, and so I have that kind of lays there.
Well,
And
wait a minute, Lindy. When you made that promise, they were little children, weren't they?
yeah,
And now they've
yeah,
grown up, and everybody
yeah,
has their own journey. I think in a case
yeah,
like that, as hard as it is, all you can do
yeah,
is surround them with love and light, and then
yeah,
they have to do what they have to do.
yeah. I come to that. I just had a conversation the other day, and that's, what I said. It's his journey, and it's his decision, and it's his journey. All I can do is, I do feed him, and I do let him take a bath. And, I mean, if it's during the day and he needs to go to the doctor and he don't have a ride, I will give him a ride to the doctor. But I don't do what I've done before. And I do every single night, put that white light and love around him wherever he's at, and hope that someone will cross his path that will, help him. That's all I can do. And I'm okay with that today, where a year ago I wouldn't have been. So I've grown a lot.
You're on your journey
A
too.
lot.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate your sharing with us.
Sure.
We always
I would
wait.
like to be a part of this group. So
You
you'll
can
have
come
to send
anytime
me
you
a
like.
email and let me know when. I
Yeah,
just got my little computer, so I'll be
I'll
able
put you on
to.
the notification
Yes.
list, and
Yeah, because I would
we
love to hear
always
other
meet.
people talk and hear stories, and
We meet on the first and third Wednesdays at 5:30
Okay.
Pacific,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I don't think we've ever missed a meeting, have we? I don't think
No,
so. In all that time,
not ever.
people come and
That's
go.
fun.
Yeah, but this, there's kind of a core group that's almost always here. So yes, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Um, and I've asked Bob Olson to speak to us. And when I first contacted, everybody know who he is? Yeah, I think, no, some of you don't.
I don't.
He was a detective, a private detective, and he got involved in the spiritual community. And he had a podcast where he interviewed a lot of people, from all over the community. And he's kind of stepped back from that. He's written some books. He has a new book out, and I think he's doing a new podcast. So I had asked him a few months ago if he would come and talk to us, and he said, well, he was just finishing his book. So I said, how about if I come back to you at the end of the summer? And he said, okay. And his book just came out. So I wrote to him. I haven't heard back yet. And I don't know, do we have anybody else scheduled? Or next time we'll probably just chat. Let me look here. Yeah, I don't think.
You want to stop the recording?
He lost his son, didn't he?
I will. We have, Pam Johnson. Susan, let me turn that recording off.